Indonesian Mixed Martial Arts (MMA) fighter Jeka Saragih will make his debut at the Ultimate Fighting Championship (UFC) Apex on November 18 or November 19, WIB. The fighter, nicknamed Death Kick, will fight in the Octagon against Brazilian fighter Lucas Alexander. Previously, Jeka Saragih had to hold back the opportunity to make his UFC debut because two of his potential opponents said they had withdrawn for certain reasons. The 28-year-old fighter's first potential opponent, Jesse Butler, stated that he had withdrawn due to injury from the match which was scheduled to take place on November 18. Then not long after, the UFC announced the schedule for Jeka to face Charlie Campbell. However, the plans for the duel were cancelled after the fighter, nicknamed the Canniball, withdrew because he could not drop to 145 pounds or featherweight for the match. Dilemma, huh? Because of this, I have spent 4 months to 5 months of training, but the competition has been postponed. But when there was an opponent, 2 days later he withdrew. Here's hoping his opponent doesn't back down, please give him good health. It's normal to lose and win in a match, said Jeka Saragih. Before making his debut in the UFC Octagon, Jeka Saragih underwent training camp (TC) in San Diego, California, United States for 5 months. During the training camp, Jeka underwent improvements in terms of game strategy so as not to get carried away by the rhythm of the opponent's game. Conditions here, thank God, are fine. The most common problems during training are sprains, and that's what we usually experience. Apart from that, TC is running smoothly, said Jeka. The fighter from North Sumatra said he would play stand-up fighting according to the coach's instructions when facing Lucas Alexander. If the strategy is according to the coach's instructions, I play stand-up fighting so when my opponent takes down I try to get out. Going back to my game of stand-up fighting, said Jeka. Regarding Lucas Alexander, who is also equally strong in the stand-up fighting style, Jeka admitted that he had prepared a strategy to anticipate the attacks launched by the fighter nicknamed the Lion. Regarding the analysis, it has not been done that far. Because just a few days ago, I got a schedule to meet him, Lucas Alexander. But I saw that he played a lot of stand fighting. I have to be able to anticipate the attacks he launches in stand-up fighting duels, said Jeka. The death kick will play flowing later. He is optimistic about winning the duel in his UFC debut match. When we talk about the possibility of being able to TKO an opponent, I think that's just talking about luck. But hopefully I will give my best in the next match. I have to be optimistic about winning, said Jeka. From statistics, Lucas Alexander has had 2 matches in the UFC. The Lion had to defeat Joanderson Brito at UFC Fight Night 212, which took place in October last year. In the second match, which took place last March, the Lion achieved their first victory after winning on points over Steven Peterson. Jeka Saragih started his professional MMA career in 2016. In his first 3 matches, Jeka was able to appear impressive by getting 3 wins including 2 TKO wins. A year later, Jeka decided to join the One Pride MMA tournament. It didn't take long. In 2018 Jeka secured the One Pride MMA champion title in the lightweight class. Jeka's journey to the UFC has been a long journey. Jeka started through the road to UFC 2022 event in December 2022 which took place in Bali. In the first round, Dead Kick appeared impressive by knocking out India's representative, Pawan Man Singh with TKO. Then in the semi-finals, Jeka defeated South Korean fighter Won Bin Ki via TKO in 1 round. In the final, Jeka had to recognize Anshul Jubilee's superiority. However, thanks to his impressive performance during the tournament, Jeka received a 5-fight contract from the UFC. When I lost in the final coming down from the Octagon, I was immediately met by the UFC who offered me a contract. Then I accepted the contract, said Jeka. Regarding the UFC industry, Jeka said that the difference compared to Indonesia can be seen in terms of training facilities. Here, MMA has really developed in terms of training facilities. You could say it's far from us, Indonesia. We have been familiar with the world of MMA for a long time, so that is also a factor in our lagging behind a number of countries, said Jeka. Jeka Saragih said that MMA in Indonesia could develop if there were more MMA events and building MMA training facilities. In Indonesia, we may have to increase the number of events where MMA is competed. Then the government must also build a number of MMA training facilities, said the 28-year-old MMA fighter. Apart from that, Jeka believes that by increasing the number of venues in the form of MMA events, it will be possible to produce talents for MMA fighters in the future. Jeka's hope for more MMA events is of course the hope of all fighters in Indonesia. However, what must be done more fundamentally at this time is an effort to campaign for MMA as a professional sports or martial arts base that is on par with other sports. Through the sport of MMA, Jeka and other fighters can raise the red and white and make Indonesia proud.